Today we're trying to break Brothers War Standard with a $50 deck that's essentially Boggles, but in Standard. Need some Boggles of your own? You can get them from our amazing sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/MTG Goldfish. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Budget Magic. And we have a deck this week that's not only super cheap, 50 bucks in paper, 3 ticks are free on Magic Online, 14 total rares and mythics, with 8 of those being the mana base on Magic Arena. But this deck is super sweet and super powerful. We're playing Boggles, sort of, but in Brothers War Standard. So even though there's no actual Boggles, no cheap hexproof creatures, this deck plays a lot like Boggles, where we play an early game threat, we load it up with auras, we make it huge, we protect it, and just kill our opponent before they know what happens to them. So let's talk about this deck, jump into some games, see it in action. So we start off with our creatures. Our first creatures are our big beaters, Generous Visitor, Cameo of Transience. As we cast auras, they get really big. In our deck, it's pretty easy that these creatures end up 8/8s, 10/10s, just smashing our opponent to death in a couple of attacks. Cameo also has the upside of coming back from our graveyard as enchantment dies, so even though we don't have a ton of creatures, the resilience of Cameo of Transience really helps make up for that. Then we have our 2 engine creatures. Storm Chaser Drake just draws us cards as we target it, so a way to churn through our deck, find more auras, find more protection. And then Ivy, if we target another creature with an aura, or any spell actually, we get a copy on Ivy as well, so another way to double up our value. So this is our creature base. Then we have our auras, starting off with 2 card draw auras, Combat Research, Security Bypass. Just make sure we draw a ton of cards. We really just want to snowball. The whole idea of this deck is play a couple cheap creatures and then just snowball that value with a bunch of card draw to keep churning through our deck, find more auras, find more protection, find more creatures until we overwhelm our opponent with this massive threat. So Combat Research, Security Bypass help there. Security Bypass also can give something unblockable if it attacks alone, which is one of our best ways of closing out the game. We just make like a 10 power Cameo and smash our opponent with this unblockable threat. The reason we're playing the deck now is Audacity. Audacity's essentially standard Rancor. Like, Rancor's maybe the best aggro enchantment that's ever been printed. It is so strong. Audacity is about as close as we can get to that in standard. Rather than coming back to our hand, it just draws us a card when it goes to the graveyard. But still, +2/+0 and trample for 1 mana is great. Cradle of Safety, it's just protection essentially. Gives a creature hexproof, and that is important because we really want these creatures that are loaded up with auras and card draw to actually stick on the battlefield, so it's a great way to fizzle a removal spell. Speaking of protection, backing up Cradle of Safety, slip out the back, not an aura, but just the best protection, phases it out so it gets around Edict, gets around Sweepers. Geistlight Snare, Cameo and Generous Visitor are both spirits, and then our deck has a ton of enchantments, so this is usually a 1 mana leak, so it's good protection, can also just stop Shieldrids or whatever big threats our opponent's playing. 1 Fading Hope can be protection or slow our opponent down. Mana base, this is where most of the rares come in. If you already got Dreamroot, Cascade, and Yacht Echoes, this deck is super cheap to put together on Arena, but pretty simple standard stuff. And in the sideboard, we have a bunch of removal. Fang of Shigeki, kind of like a removal spell, is a 1 mana 1/1 Death Toucher, plus it's an enchantment, so it triggers our synergies. Witness Protection for stuff like Shieldred, some bounce, negate, Spell Pierce, Cameo Safekeeping, more ways to protect our creatures, and that is Boggles, but in Brothers War Standard. That's our Budget Magic deck for this weekend. We gotta jump to the games and see this in action. This deck is absurd. I'm not even messing around. Do we actually break standard already on week 1 of Budget Magic? Let's find out. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap up. Budget Magic time. We are breaking standard, no big deal. We're playing some Boggles, but in Brothers War Standard, and stand looks pretty good. I mean, we have double creatures, we got some protection, we got some auras. That's kind of what we want. Run out the Cameo. If it dies, at least it comes back from the graveyard later. Opponent appears to be, well, double Shipwreck Marsh. Could be Control, could be Grixis, Blue-Black Control. Blue-Black Control's not really a thing, is it? Esper, I guess it could be a weird Esper draw. All right, more black mana. Well, how do we feel about the Cameo? One of the nice things about Cameo is it is a spirit, which means if we can get combat research on it, ooh, land is huge. Land is huge. If we can get an enchantment on it, our Geistlight Snare is 1 mana. The question is, do we go for it? If our opponent kills it in response, I guess we can still Geistlight Snare, but then we have no protection. Let's play it patient. Let's just get in. Opponent's leaving up mana. In our ideal world, our opponent taps out for something and we counter it. Or taps out for removal and we fizzle it, and then combat research with protection up. Grixis it is. What are you doing with your red mana opponent? Liliana. Yeah, do we counter this or slip out the back? Yeah, I guess it's fine. Our opponent's clearly gonna try to take down, and then we're gonna slip out the back. And this grows our Cammy. The funny thing is we might actually just ignore this Liliana now. Storm Chaser Drake number 2. We kind of want lands though. Yeah, let's just combat research. Combat research, grow the Cammy, go to combat, hit our opponent, draw a card. We get the cost of our Geistlight snared out. We get double Cradle up too. All right, another slip out the back. Would have preferred a land there, but. All right, opponent, what do you got? Now this Liliana is probably benefiting us. And now if the Cammy dies, it comes back to hand anyway. Opponent, Infernal Grasp. Unfortunately, we do only have one blue source. So we only got one protection spell. Cradle? I mean, if our opponent has to spend 2 removal spells. All right, I mean, that's fine. So they killed the Cammy temporarily, lost 2 life, but it took them 2 spells, and we get our Cammy back. Take it up, Liliana. Yeah, we'll discard the Geistlight Snare at this point. And now I guess we try to snowball the Storm Chaser. We still would like a, yes, okay. So there's a land, run out the Storm Chaser. If our opponent tries to Liliana, we can slip out the back, and the Liliana goes away. All right, we're in a good spot. Opponent, Island. You know what would be annoying is Shieldred. That would be bad now that we discarded Geistlight Snare. Liliana, taken down. All right, well. Slip out the back, draw a card. If our opponent has another removal spell, this is still kind of fine because we still have another Drake and a Cammy. All right, opponent has a Braid, sure. We draw land, which is fine. Opponent passes. Now play the land, play the Drake. Pass the turn. I mean, our opponents had a good draw against our deck too. They've had removal pretty much every turn of the game, and oh, that's annoying. All right, yeah. Well, that is actually a problem. Oh, another Storm Chaser. All right, run it back. If they have the second Invoke Despair, we're gonna cry and probably lose. Otherwise, we're still kind of okay. Land for our opponent. Corpse Appraiser, gonna do some digging. All right. It's the Storm Chaser Drake, sure. Yeah, Invoke is tough because it does get around everything except slip out the back since it's an Edict. Yeah, look at that draw. I mean, if we win this, that's a big vote of confidence for this deck because I don't think our opponent could ask for more against our deck. Like, cheap removal every turn. Ooh, Soul Transfer. All right. Cradle to safety. Draw a card. Protect it. Ooh, and a Generous Visitor. That's a nice little buffer for Edict effects. Ooh, and an Audacity. All right, let's see. So, Generous Visitor. Audacity, draw a card. Grow the Drake. Grow the Drake. All right, it's a land. Security bypass, grow the Drake. Draw a card, not protection. Yeah, let's go attack in, hit you for 7. I mean, it comes down to this. It comes down to this one turn. Can we draw a protection spell? No. All right, well, run out the Cammy then. This is what we got, opponent. Can you kill the Drake? Or have we gotten through all the removal? Have we finally done it? Opponent. Opponent's got to be thinking, how did I possibly lose to this budget deck when I had removal? What more do you want from me, Grixis? Other than literally having removal every turn of the game, along with Liliana and Invoke Despair, multiple Edict effects, make disappear, a Braid, Infernal Grasp, Soul Transfer. They had it all. They had literally everything. If they could have drawn up their hand to fight against our deck, I think this is probably pretty close to what our opponent would have drawn up. And if they can't kill this Drake, they still lose. Is our opponent salting out? The salty Boggle Scoop in our very first match? I mean, they either have removal or they don't. Yes! We made him quit Magic. They had the nut draw and they still couldn't do it against our budget deck, and now they're done. You know, our opponent's sitting there Marvel snapping on their phone now. We drove them away from Magic and back to the Marvel Snap. They're learning what an X-Man is. Apparently our deck's a little resilient, and yeah, not bad. A lot of stuff died and it didn't matter in the end. Or our opponent's doing the ultimate slow roll. Watch them time out and then, like, during our turn we go to attack, kill the Drake. That would be the worst. Last time out. The clock is running. She'll kill the Drake. Nothing to get salty about. It's on you, opponent. Play more removal. Your infinite removal spells were not enough. You need infinite +1, apparently. I mean, I guess I'd be salty, too, if I had that draw and lost to this budget pile. This $50 pile of glory. Oh, are they going to rope here, too? Stop snapping, opponent. Stop snapping. Come on. Just let us kill you and then do your X-Men thing. Not only a win in our first match, but the salty scoop win against one of the best decks in the format with a ton of removal and a good draw. So, yeah, got him. GG! GG! Well, boggles him. Sweet, sweet. Budget magic time. We are doing some more Simic Bogglesing. I mean, there's no hexproof creatures, but close enough. Simic, auras, boggles, whatever in standard. And, well, this hand is generous. That looks pretty good. We got no protection, but double generous give her into a Cammy Whammy. And audacity and security bypass. So, ooh, soldiers. All right. Well, soldiers on the play. Opponent starting off aggro. Who is more aggressive? Shouldn't be a ton of removal in this matchup, so maybe not having protection's fine. Probably some brutal Cathars, but usually soldiers is not super removal heavy. All right, Valiant Veteran. One drop into the Lord. Gets and hits us. Sure. Storm Chaser. How do we? Yeah, I mean, I think we got to go aggro. Generous give it a visitor. Audacity. Grow it, grow it, grow it. I mean, we're going big, we're going big. Hit you for 5. Opponent takes it. Plains. Come on, no brutal Cathars. All right, more Lords. Actually, do we win this race? No, I'm not sure. We're taking 7. You draw an island. Well, play the land. I mean, we gotta just security bypass, right? I mean, we can win in 2 turns. So security bypass, pump, connive, hit you for 7, connive away a non-land up to 8. So 2 attacks with generous visitor does do it. The problem is if they have anything to get rid of this generous visitor, the one that's not attacking, then we die. Apparently we are not allowed to tap our mana properly. All right. Let's try that. Security bypass. Well, that's a plan. All in on this generous visitor. If our opponent has removal, they win. If they don't have removal, I think we can survive the turn with a chump block and win. Does another Lord kill us? Or I guess another Lord kills us too. All right, just a land. We gotta discard a non-land here because we actually need the connive counter. All right, do you have the removal, opponent? And on soldier. Do you have a Lord or do you have removal? Opponent's looking at generous visitor, realizing unblockability and trample attacks. Oh, block the recruitment officer. Guardian, that doesn't do it. Wow, opponent. Oh, and the Geist. Okay, now it's definitely done. With the Geistlight Snare, even if they were slow rolling removal, we still got them. Attack you for Xaxes? Oh, maybe this deck's busted. I mean, that was another, like, good soldier draw. They were on the play, 1 drop into Lord, and we raced with Generous Visitor? Did we break it? Did we break standard already? Now, let's bring these Fang of Shigekis. Fang of Shigeki is probably, in a weird way, our best removal spell. Well, on to game number 2. Oh, good. Generous Visitor Combat Research. All right, this could work, as long as our stuff lives. It's gonna be a good generous visitor. If it dies though, we're sad. I could see trying the Fangs in the main deck, ultra budget over Ivy maybe. Another way to trim a rare or 2, but they're very good out of the sideboard. Opponent, Harbin. One of the best soldiers. All right, another creature's not bad, but I think we'd rather, we have so many lands that I think we need to start conniving to try to hit non-lands. This also sets us up for a good turn next turn. Yeah, we'll just discard a pain land. We can Cammy plus combat research and really start drawing. Opponent gets and hits us. Passes. Ooh, audacity 2. How do we want to do this? Opponent's leaving mana up. Yeah, let's Cammy. And Protective Negotiators. Well, we might as well keep loading up our generous visitor, try to draw some cards, combat research, get a counter. Security bypass means it's unblockable, get in, hit ya. We are in a spot though where if our opponent draws removal, we're in kind of a sad spot again. All right, connive away a land. Oh, we fit so many lands this game. But generous visitor proving to be OP in the world of audacity. Ooh, all right, well, okay, now we might be losing. Opponent hits us. We do get back our Cammy, which is good. Another combat research is also good. Well, run out the Cami, run out the Generous Visitor. Combat Research the Cami. Hopefully they don't have even more removal. That was a pretty nice rebuild. Cami coming back from the graveyard is actually huge in this deck because we're not that creature heavy. We have what, 14-ish creatures? So we don't have that many creatures. So if our creatures die, we can be in trouble. But Cami being a repeatable creature is actually really helpful. Ooh, are they gonna pass to flip the Brutal Cathar? They are. So that means we probably don't want to cast 2 spells. But we do want to grow this Cami. Can we please stop drawing lands, deck? We're up to roughly infinite lands. But we do have a 8/6 Trampler. Ooh. Oh! I guess we should have played that land. We could have paid for the Protect the Negotiations if we had played the land. Well, get in, hit you, draw a card. This better not be another... Okay, ooh, Security Bypass. That's actually sneaky good. Security Bypass actually means if we live and our creatures live, we win next turn. And we can take this hit. Oh, this isn't a soldier. Oh, I was gonna say, if they can play one more soldier, we're probably dead. But this is, they flipping the Moonrage Brute's actually a huge drawback. Opponent hits us to 2. It all comes down to this. Guardian, that doesn't do it. So opponent needs like Fading Hope, I guess. Fang of Shigeki, okay. Play the land. I mean, we might as well run out the Fang of Shigeki. Counters, the best Cami of all time. Up to 8 power, and then Security Bypass to make it unblockable? I mean, if they got Fading Hope, then they got us. Do you have it? Oh, the answer is no. Okay. Well, maybe this deck actually is just busted. I was joking when we said we broke Standard, but maybe we did break Standard. On a budget. Sweet, sweet. Budget magic time. We are doing some bogglesing in Standard. Oh boy, Mono Red A. Gonna need to somehow be a little faster. The Storm Chaser Drake dying is gonna be really bad here, Bloodthirsty Adversary. Yeah, this was a risky keep, and we might get a little punished. Pass the turn. Yeah, this is bad. This is bad. About it. Chandra Dress to kill. Well, bounce the Pit Fighter. Cradle of Safety to the bottom. Actually, I think that was a mistake. We should have waited till after they use this mana. Well, I guess it didn't matter either way. All right, there's a Saga down to 14. About it gets it, hits us. We draw a land that doesn't do much. Well, Storm Chaser Drake, Combat Research. However, this is still, oh, it's a land? Oh boy, it's just so easy to kill this here. If the Storm Chaser dies, we're super dead. Opponent, okay, well, Storm Chaser lives, but we're still super dead. Alana and Elena. Yeah, I mean, our opponent just got off to a super fast start, which I guess is what Mono Red does. And we did not get off to that fast of a start. Opponent takes up, hits us a 6, plays the Pit Fighter. And yes, okay. Well, we will go to the next. We will go to the next one. Yeah, that was what you call a blowout. So, Fang of Shigeki's in. Go down an Ivy. Go down a Geistlight Snare. Go down a Slip out the back. Go down 2 Cradle of Safeties for 2... Oh, damn you, safekeepings. Try it like that. All right, we're on the play, which should help. And we do have a little bit more relevant interaction now. But this does feel like kind of a tricky matchup. The deck feels really good against mid-range style decks, but Mono Red, or I guess Gruul in this case, is like the most aggressive deck in the format. Not sure how we line up against that. We'll see. If we can get our snowball going. All right, I kind of like this hand. Fang of Shigeki is good. We do gotta spend some life to cast it. But that's a good start. That shuts down something of our opponents. Opponent phases. Well, play the land. Cammy whammy. Get in for 1. Kind of want to wait on the Ivy until we can get value out of it, but we'll see if we have that luxury. Opponent. Mishra's Foundry. Bloodthirsty Adversary. Gonna get in for 3. No blocks. Down to 14. Play the land. No. Not Cradle of Safety. Security Bypass on the Cami. Counter on the Cami. Hit you with the Cami. Connive away. I mean, I think it's Ivy, unfortunately. Combat Research. I feel like 5 power is... or 5 toughness is relevant here. We'll see. If this Cami lives, we're in pretty good shape. If our opponent can kill it, even with 5 toughness, then things are sketchy. All right. So opponent's just gonna go race mode. They kill the Fang and Shigeki, they hit us. Well, let's see what we find. Storm Chaser. All right, so play the land, go to combat, hit ya. Down to 11. Draw a card. Connive a card. How do we get lethal next turn is the question. Can we get lethal next turn? So that'd be 6. Yeah, all right. Storm Chaser Drake. That's the turn. Chandra down to 10. Okay. Ticks up. We drop to 8.
Let's bring things up to
okay. Well, I mean, we just got to win this turn. And it's possible. We can take the beats. Well, Cradle of Safety, Storm Chaser Drake. Get some triggers. 9 -2. No blocks. Generous Visitor. Security bypass on the Cammy. Wow, are we 1 point of damage short? We're 1 point of damage short. To 1. We draw a million cards. Discard the land. Discard the combat research. Oh, but I don't think we can survive another turn. All our opponent needs is 1 burn spell. Maybe. We go to 3. We got the Geistlight Snare. We got a blocker. Opponent pings us. Down to 3. This is so close. This is so close. We definitely have lethal next turn if we survive. Bloodthirsty Adversary with a counter. Okay. Opponent. Combat. I mean, if they got a burn spell, we're dead. So we block. And then we slip out the back, and now we pray. No lightning strikes. No lightning strikes. Oh, no lightning strikes. Okay, we got there. We got there. Now can we do it with our opponent playing first? That is the bigger question. Whew. I mean, you can see just how big this deck can get once it gets going, and it is big. It gets big super fast. So on the draw, I think maybe we go, let's go up 1 more Fading Hope, down to slip out the back, run it like that. That was good, that was good. We showed that we could at least keep up with the fastest deck in the format. Oh, this deck actually feels pretty good. This deck might be legit. Might have broke it already. On the play, this is actually fine. Double Fang is actually pretty good. Fang is like, so we don't have any of our big synergy pieces, but Fang is kind of like a removal spell. I mean, that's the idea of Fang at least, is it just blocks and death touches, and it's synergistic since it's an enchantment. What are our opponent's sleeves? Seasonal, I guess. Although Halloween's over, opponent. They deserve to lose for playing Halloween sleeves when we're closer to Thanksgiving, I think. Opponent. Wait, can you not beat a Fang as Shigeki? Is this Salt Scoop number 2? Okay, apparently not. Opponent, land. Feldin. We will kill it. Opponent gets to draw a card. Oh, another Fang. Another Fang. Okay, I mean, we would like a payoff at some point, but these Fang Shigekis are pretty good. Opponent. So they get a free land drop. They flip their Saga. Land. By Erexian Dragon Engine. Goes attacking. We will kill it again. Untap. Well, Dreamroot Cascade, Fang and Shigeki. Pass the turn. The problem is we haven't drawn any payoffs. Like that's the issue we're having here. We're staying alive-ish, but we're not drawing any way to churn through our deck. That's what we really need to find. Opponent takes up Chandra, pings us. Tear asunder. Well, we will Cradle of Safety. Goes attacking. No, we're gonna take it. No blocks. Down to 12. Okay, Cammy's not the worst. Play a Cammy. Audacity the Fang of Shigeki. Kill the Chandra. All right. I mean, we're putting up a fight. We're putting up a fight. Will it be enough? If they have Halan and Elena, we're in trouble. But otherwise, we got a chance. Dragon Engine with no Mishra is interesting. Opponent goes to combat. Attacks. We don't really have anything relevant in hand. Yeah, let's just kill the Feldin. This does let our opponent dig 3 cards deep, and it does drop us down to 8. We really need some card draw. The opponent, probably another Dragon Engine for next turn, I guess. Yeah, takes the Dragon Engine. Vulcanwrath Pit Fighter. We draw just a land. Oh, that's real bad. That is real bad. Pass the turn. Not looking good, though. Not looking good. These Dragon Engines are going to be good once they die. Opponent, Dragon Engine. Goes attacking. Well, we will block. Do we just slip out the back? I guess we have to. Slip out the back. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah. Those 2 islands and no card draw are going to do it. Oh, and the Halan and Elena. Oh! Well, that was disappointing, but I guess it's good to see the bad games with the good. Budget Magic time. We are bogglesing in standard, and Hornland's been on the heavy side, but we do have an Audacity and a Storm Chaser and a Cami. No protection though at the moment. It's gonna be interesting. I mean, I guess we probably Valve Sleeper. Well, that's kind of protection. Let's run out the Cami. As the turd. See how much, at least the Cami comes back if it dies, or can in the future. Opponent gonna level up and pass. Well, that's Audacity on the Cami. The one downside of this line is it is weak to Liliana in specific. Opponent, land. Okay, that's fine. Soul transfer the Cami. Grow it, protect it. Opponent goes attacking. Security bypass. Hit ya. Connive. All right, discard the land. I mean, well, now I guess we're just all in on the Cami. Since we drew the counter spell, I think that's our best plan here. Soul transfer, counter it. Opponent comes it up. Ah, best deck in standard, no more. Super budget Boggles taking down Mono Black pretty convincingly there. What do we want against Mono Black? So Fang of Shigeki's not bad. Witness Protection is supposed to be our shield answer because our deck does like drawing cards. Cameo Safekeeping's good. The challenge with this deck is really how much can we afford to bring in? Because our main deck is pretty well set up to play against Mono Black. Like, there's so many black decks in the format, we're kind of already sort of set up for it. The main thing we probably need is, all these options are good. What can we possibly cut? We can maybe like trim like a security bypass. Maybe we can trim an Ivy because it's slow on the draw. Do we want counters? Do we want witness protections? Witness protection. And maybe like, can we get on a Cradle? Going on a Cradle for a negate. Let's try it like that. So a couple answers to Shieldred, one more counter spell. All right, let's just do that again. Let's just smash the Mono Black deck. The opponent's on the play. All right, I like this hand. Generous Visitor's a nice start. Generous Visitor, go. Please don't kill it. Down. Well, a protection spell would be helpful. Razor Lash Transmogrant. Well, land and, since we have 2 Drakes, I think we run one out. If it lives, it'd be great, but, all right, Liliana. Opponent gonna take down. Well, we need to hit another creature at some point. Land, Drake, Audacity. All right, another Drake. I mean, if we just keep drawing Drakes, that's fine. We have a land we can discard to Liliana. Graveyard, okay. That's not bad. Graveyard Trespasser, opponent. Gonna take up Lily. Still wouldn't mind drawing a protection spell. All right, opponent hits us down to 13. Well, Generous Visitor. Audacity the Drake, draw some cards. Grow the Drake. Combat Research the Drake. Grow the Drake. Play the land, hit our opponent. Draw. Geistlight Snare is huge. It is huge. That is the draw we wanted more than anything. Opponent, looking at the Drake, ticks down. We will sacrifice Generous Visitor. Oh no, that turns off the Geistlight Snare. Opponent goes attacking. Oh no. Oh no, yeah, a little more fragile than we thought, down to 6. Opponent passes. Opponent's at 14. Can we somehow 14 them? Probably not. How do we stay alive? We have to stay on Drake defense? Play the Cami. Hit our opponent with the Drake. There's no creatures, there's 1 creature. So we block here, we go to 2. All right, hit you with the Drake. I mean, we're all in on the Drake. We're all in on the Drake. We draw a card. It's a land. That's actually not bad. Play a Storm Chaser. Pass the turn. Geistlight Snare at the ready. Flip the Trespasser back around. Lethal Drake in the air. Opponent goes attacking. We block Transmogrant. Need to keep the Spirit for the Geistlight Snare. We drop to 2. Sheoldred, snare it, kill him. Mono black going down to the cheapest pile of boggles. Combat, smack ya, kill ya. Nice try, best deck in standard. Oh, so good. So good. This deck's so sweet. It's so sweet, and it's super cheap too. That was a good one. Well, got him. Budget magic time. We are playing some boggles in our new standard format. Generous Visitor is a good start. Get down the Visitor. We have 0 enchantments at the moment, which is awkward, but opponent, white mana, could be a control deck, could also be Soldiers. Soldiers is pretty popular at the moment. We'll see. Ooh, all right, probably control, or I guess just Esper midrange. Are we killing the Generous Visitor? Not yet. Play the land, go to combat, smack you for 1. Opponent's gonna go for the throw. How much do we care about this? Probably not enough. All right, sure. That works. Run out the Cami. Liliana would be obnoxious here. Wow, Crystal Grotto in a 3-color deck. Whew. People will really go deep for a scry. Monocolor decks, it makes a lot of sense because you have room. Although less room now that we have like Mishra's Factory and whatnot, but the opponent looking at our Cami. Well, play the land. Ivy. Well, this isn't bad because now we have Slip Out the back up. And then next turn we can double Audacity, hopefully. Would still like to just draw some card draw. Combat Research would be the best. Oh, opponent's reanimating. All right, Faithful Mending. Very expensively with Crystal Grotto. So I assume our opponent's trying to reanimate stuff if this is what they're doing. Well, let's draw a Combat Research and go off. Opponent, thank you for letting us know. They're not frozen in time, they're thinking. Void Rend and Colossal Sky Turtle, but no land. Another Cami. Okay, so Audacity, Cami, and Ivy. Yes, we will copy the spell. Land, Cami number 2. And hit you for 9. All right, things are looking pretty good. We're actually just presenting lethal here. Also worth mentioning, wow, another one. Opponent is getting so punished for these Crystal Grottos. To the top. The token does still go to the graveyard. It does still go there. It's only for a second, but it does happen. Opponent's playing control. We'll go down the Fading Hope. We'll go down 1 Security Bypass. Go up the Negate. Go up the Spell Pierce. I kind of want 1 more Spell Pierce. How do we get this in? I guess we could go 1 Ivy. All right, 2 Spell Pierces, run it like that. I mean, that went pretty well. Not bad at all. I feel like our deck should be pretty good at punishing control decks, right? All right, we are on the draw, but I kind of like this hand. Wow, GG. GG already, Generous Visitor. GV. Wow, opponent, yeah, that is a greedy mana base. Play the land, go to combat, hit ya. If we don't play something this turn, when are we gonna play something? 2 Xander's Lounges. They could have the Sweeper, Brotherhood's End. Yeah, let's just pass. I think what we can do, we can pass here, leave up Geistlight Snare. Next turn, we can Security Bypass Geistlight Snare. If we can get 1 more land, then we should be able to like develop our board and leave up protection. I know, you don't have to say it, but I get it. You gotta think about your scry, that's fine. Opponent seems very conscious of their opponent, which is nice, but very conscious of their opponent being like angry about them scrying or whatever. All right, go to combat attack. Yeah, we're just gonna pass again. So I think what we do is pass. We might just flash in Cradle of Safety so we can reduce the cost of this Geistlight Snare. Oh, we're gonna wait. Land, Cami. We're playing this way too slowly, aren't we? The problem is if we go for Security Bypass and our opponent kills it, then we have nothing and we can't even play a second spell. All right, well, hit you for 1. Patience Remains. Yeah, I feel like we might have messed this game up. I feel like we should have been more aggressive. Opponent land. Can we ever draw land? No. Security bypass. Discard the Cammy. I mean, opponent seems happy not doing anything, which makes sense because we are not putting them under much of a clock. Torals. Do we care about Torals? Yeah, that's fine, whatever. All right, opponent connives. If we could just draw a land, our life gets so much easier. Archangel of Wrath. All right, so opponent's just like 5-color control. Tap land. Opponent. Land. All right, well, Generous Visitor. It's not a land, but it is a card we can cast. We will pass the turn. Opponent. Well, let's see if our very patient plan pays off or if we get punished because of it. We're getting to the point where Geistlight Snare not even that good anymore. Our opponent's just like done nothing this game. It's so weird. Opponent hits us to 60. Passes. It's a slip out the back. Oh, this is the most awkward game I've ever played. Get in, hit ya. Discard a Cammy. Well, maybe the Generous Visitors will just win the race. Opponent combat. Gets it, hits us. The slap fight continues down to 12. Opponent passes. Oh my god, it's still not a land. We're just never gonna draw land. It's not gonna happen. We've waited so long and it's not ever gonna happen. Discard Ivy. Hits us. Down to 8. Can you win a game of Standard by aggressively discarding the hand size? I mean, it is getting to the point where it's a little unfortunate we haven't drawn a land yet. Shigeki. Okay. Now let's cast a Cradle of Safety. Get some counters, get some counters. We're just trying to reduce the cost on these Geistlight Snares. Void Rend. Okay, so we will slip out the back. Untap. Well, security bypass. Generous Visitor. Grow the Generous Visitor. Grow the Generous Visitor. Hit ya. Down to 7. Loot. Discard it. Still no land. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Not feeling great. Attacks. Well, let's kill it. We actually want them to try to cast the Angel because then we can Geistlight Snare it and then hopefully win. Yeah, not good enough because we just could not draw the land. Yeah, we had to be more aggressive. This loss is on us. I think we just had to run stuff out. I mean, I guess we had no way of knowing that we were never going to draw land, which is certainly a big part of why this didn't work. It definitely did not work. Hey, we did it. Way too late, but we did it. The problem is now that Angel is actually an issue. We'll run out the Cammy. Pass the turn. Yeah, I don't know. Not feeling good. Not feeling good about where we're at now. About it. Passing. Wow. Leaving it. All right, there's another land. Security bypass on the Cammy. Attack you. Tear asunder. We'll negate it. Colossal Sky Turtle. All right, that works. Yeah, and that does it. Okay, so yes, it's unfortunate that we never drew that land. On the other hand, I think that we mostly accept the blame for that one because I think that we needed to be more aggressive. We just waited too long. We gave our opponent so much time to develop their mana. We wanted that 4th land so we could play stuff and leave up counters. But I think that game would have went way better if we just dumped our hand and we're like, if you kill our stuff, you kill our stuff. We're just gonna run it out. So I think normally you want to play carefully with this deck and protect your threats. That's a big part of the deck's game plan. But I think in this matchup and in that situation, I think it was wrong for us to play so carefully. I think we just played too conservatively there. We need to just YOLO it, I guess. Just run stuff out and hope for the best. Because we see what our opponent's trying to do. Opponent's trying to get to 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, 8 mana, 10 mana and win the late game. We need to keep them from getting to that point. Ooh, all right. Well, this is another hand where if we can, ooh, all right, we're gonna run out of Storm Chaser. We have 2 Storm Chasers, so this makes it better. We can run out of Storm Chaser 1. If it dies, at least we got Storm Chaser 2 as a backup. Opponent loves that grotto. Shigeki, that is fine. So we will play a land. We will play Security Bypass. Draw a card. Hit our opponent Connive. loot away a land, pass the turn, leave up our slip out the backs. This is kind of where we want to be. Opponent, tap land, passes. Oh, play the land, Audacity. Draw a card. Combat Research, draw a card. Yeah, not bad. This is going a lot better than last game. I think being on the play has also helped. Well, get in, hit ya, draw a card, connive. Ooh, we'll keep the Cradle of Safety. We'll just, you know what? Let's just keep discarding lands for now. We have so much protection. I feel like we should be able to just ride this. Wow, this is a 5-color pile. We should be able to just ride this Drake all the way, I think. I mean, hexproof, 2 slip out the backs, and a Geistlight Snare. Wouldn't mind finding his Spirit. Our clock's a bit slow, but I think that's okay in this scenario. Opponent passes, okay. Tear Asunder. Well, we will just Cradle of Safety. Draw some cards. Okay, there's a Spirit. Yeah, hexproof. Fizzle it. Play the land. Go to combat. Hit you. Draw. Connive. Opponent down to 9. Oh my god, so much protection. I mean, at this point, I think we discard the Storm Chaser Drake. I mean, if you can find a way to kill this Drake through this amount of protection, then you got his 5-color control, but that is a big ask. And then we should just have lethal next turn, thanks to this generous visitor. Drag to the bottom. Well, we will slip out the back. Draw a card. Fizzle it. Yeah, this is more like we expect this matchup to go. I mean, if you run out the Shigeki, you're super dead. I mean, you're super dead no matter what, I think. About it. Passes. We phase back in. Generous visitor. Audacity the Drake. Grow the Drake. And there's the GG. And yeah, that should do it. Hit ya. Double hexproof in hand. And yeah. All right. So take it as a lesson. Yes, you want to be careful. Yes, you want to protect your creatures. But there are times when you can go too far on that plan, as we saw in game 2 and get punished for it. But this was kind of the ideal draw for the deck. I mean, just so much protection. It's not like our opponent's draw was horrible. They had multiple removal spells. They had a sweeper. They had some ramp. But we just had, look at what we ended with. We ended this game with our opponent dying with 1, 2, 3 protection spells in hand, along with a Geist Knights there, a 1-mana mana leak, and even more card draw. And we're about to draw a bunch from the Drake. Like, this was not even, like, kind of a little bit close. So, yeah, Boggles, sweet. So what do we learn this week about Boggles, sort of, but in Brothers War Standard? And the deck's busted. The deck is legitimately busted. And I'm not talking like busted for a budget deck. I'm talking like, I think something like this might actually just be straight up legitimately tier deck, a real deck in Standard, even though it's only $50 and only 3 ticks and only 14 rares and mythics, although actually kind of like 6 if you discount the dual lands that you need for the deck. So I was blown away. If you look at our matches, we had 1 loss, and that was to Mono Red, and Mono Red was on the play. We won the 1 game when we were on the play. So I don't think that's an unwinnable matchup. I don't think it's a great matchup. More impressively, we beat Soldiers, an aggro deck. We just outraced them. We beat 5-color control that just had all these huge, expensive removal spells. And then we beat Grixis and Mono Black. We sucked away the Grixis player's soul. So I didn't even want to keep playing Magic. They salty scooped. And Mono Black, we kind of crushed them as well. And I gotta say, this wasn't a case where our opponent's draws were bad. The Soldier game we won, our opponent was 1-drop into like Double Lord, and we just raced up. The Grixis game, it blew my mind. I could not blame our opponent for being salty because they had the perfect draw. I think they had, like 4 or 5 2-mana removal spells. They resolved and invoked Despair. They got a Liliana going, and it didn't matter. If our opponent could have sat down and tutored through their deck to make their opening hand, it probably would have looked a lot like the hand that they had, and it didn't even matter. So we lost 1 match to Mono Red. We didn't lose another match, and I think we only lost 1 other game along the way, and that was a game against 4-color control, which I think was mostly on me, where we just played too conservatively. We kept trying to wait to draw one more land so we could like resolve stuff and leave up a counter spell, and we just never drew that land. So by the time we started to play stuff, it was too late and our opponent was just casting their big haymakers. So I think that was really, the loss wasn't on the deck. The loss was more about just playing it too conservatively, which I think you often do want to play conservatively with this deck. You don't often just want to run out your stuff and have it get killed, but you got to know when to switch gears and when you got to go a little bit more aggressive, and I think we should have went more aggressive there. So the deck just kind of crushed everyone. We played many of the best decks in Standard, and we just sort of smashed them like super easily. So if we're still living in this world where everyone's trying to play these black decks and these mid-range piles and these control piles and flip Urzas, I think that Boggles, but in Standard, might actually be one of the better decks in this format, and it's ridiculously cheap. So I love this deck. I think the deck's great. If you're looking for a budget deck that can just absolutely eat up those black decks for lunch, I would recommend this. To me, it reminds me a little bit of like Mono Blue Delver when we played that, and that caught on and became like this legit top tier deck that was one of the ways to fight against all the black decks in Standard. I think this might be Mono Blue Delver, but better. It has the same sort of play pattern, but we just draw way more cards and we have just better threats. Instead of like playing a Delver of Secrets and trying to get a 3/2 flyer, we're just making like a 10 power Cameo Transients and just smashing it to death. And if you kill it, whatever, it's coming back, but hopefully we protect it anyway. So I think this deck is legit. I think it's awesome. If you're looking for maybe the best budget deck in Brothers War Standard, obviously the sample size is still small right now, but I would say give it a shot. I think this deck is really good. So that is Boggles, but it's Standard. That's been our Brothers War Budget Magic for this week. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.